This beautiful flight attendant had just flown back to her country when she received a text message from her boyfriend asking to meet. Because it had been a long time since they had dinner together, a happy smile appeared on the girl's lips. But the girl did not know that today was the day she would lose the person she loved most in this life. The moment Nari entered the cafe, her heart was filled with the anticipation of happiness. Her eyes turned to the distance, where her boyfriend was, sitting waiting with a carefully prepared banquet table. On the table was a bouquet of pure roses, emitting a gentle fragrance. Next to it was a sparkling engagement ring. While sitting at the party, Nari suddenly received a call from her uncle. His voice rang out on the phone with bad news that made Nari seem stunned. Nari's beloved mother had passed away in a sudden traffic accident. The bad news came like a huge wave, sweeping away all the joy in an instant. Nari collapsed in pain to the point of being speechless. No sound from the other end of the line could soothe the bewilderment that was suffocating her heart. That fateful phone call had completely changed the direction of Nari's life. At her mother's funeral, tears silently rolled down Nari's face. The pain of loss was evident in her lifeless gaze, making her feel as if she was floating in a cold void. 10 months later, after a long series of tiring flights, Nari returned to the familiar airport. The distance made her yearn even more to hold her lover tightly in her arms. As soon as she stepped out the door, Nari's eyes immediately fell on her boyfriend Jongjin, who was waiting in the lobby. He smiled brightly, holding her hand tightly, as if he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Amidst the joy of reunion, Jongjin spoke seriously about the upcoming important meeting. However, his eyes were still gentle, shining with sincere affection for Nari. She clearly felt that despite the geographical distance, their love was still strong and growing deeper. Nari held Jongjin's hand tightly as a tacit promise of trust. After the two said goodbye, Nari suddenly turned back to find Jongjin. She stopped and hurriedly called his name. Nari's heart beat fast. She was not sure if her decision was right or not. When Nari walked closer to Jongjin, she suddenly realized that he was meeting someone. A surge of curiosity and fear made Nari decide to follow him silently. Each step led her to an unbelievable scene. Jongjin was hugging Yoju, Nari's colleague. They hugged each other to her surprise. Nari watched the scene silently. Her heart was broken. She was stunned, shocked, and speechless. The intense emotions that flooded her, from pain to anger, made Nari feel suffocated. She witnessed the moment of betrayal by the person Nari loved. At that moment, an image of herself rushing to block their car appeared in her mind. Nari imagined herself pulling Yoju out of the car and slapping her in the face in anger. She also grabbed Jongjin and slammed his head against the car several times to vent her anger. That feeling was like a wave of anger spreading through her chest, making Nari tremble. But in reality, when their car passed by, she dodged as a self-protective reflex. Nari stood there helplessly, letting the hurt drown out all her thoughts. On the way home, the terrifying image in her mind made her constantly worry. Nari felt lost in the thin line between imagination and reality. Her emotions had become chaotic and difficult to control. When Nari arrived at the cemetery where her mother was buried, she picked up the phone and called Jongjin. She informed him that their marriage was over. Nari's voice on the phone was very gentle, but her heart was filled with an indescribable heaviness. After the call ended, Nari stood silently by her mother's grave. She remembered the happy and sad days that mother and daughter had experienced. When she returned to the car, Nari suddenly saw a man lying on the green grass. She approached him and a short conversation began. Unexpectedly, the man was the owner of a famous restaurant in the area. The seemingly random meeting was the turning point that changed her life. On another flight, Nari accidentally ran into Yoju. The atmosphere between the two was tense. Nari decided to come forward and warn her. She declared that if Yoju did not stay away, Nari was willing to make Yoju's personal matters public. That threat caused tension between them to explode, creating a confrontation that could damage their reputation and future careers. Not long after, Jongjin took the initiative to meet Nari. He brought a belated apology. His eyes shone with remorse, his voice filled with sincerity. Jongjin said that his parents had always treated her like family. He hoped that Nari would forgive him, hoping to keep their love even if it was just a small glimmer of hope. But she had made up her mind. Nari had closed her heart. She could not forgive Jongjin for what had happened. Even though she understood that Nari's uncle had borrowed money from Jongjin, for her, it was all beyond saving. In Nari's heart, this decision had been made. In her head, the bitter words she had said still echoed. Nari's rash actions made passers-by look at her with mocking eyes. Nari's heart ached and shook in her decision. She knew it was the only thing she could do to protect herself and keep her dignity. Nari called a taxi home, but was surprised to find that the house she had been attached to had been sold to Dujun. He was the owner of the famous Hung dumpling shop in the area. Dujun was skillfully making dumplings in the small kitchen. Meanwhile, Nari woke up with blurred vision and accidentally dropped the ice cream on the table. The ice cream fell on her feet, causing her to scream in panic. The scream echoed in the quiet morning, causing Dujun Jun to immediately stop what he was doing in the kitchen and run over. He appeared with a worried expression, asking if Nari was hurt. She tried to calm herself down, smiled awkwardly and said that she was fine, but Nari was still embarrassed. She understood that dropping the ice cream was a small matter, but her fearful reaction just now made Nari feel ashamed. When Dujun asked for permission to come in to check, she opened the door for him. Seeing that Nari seemed unwell, he did not hesitate to pick her up in his strong arms. Without delay, Dujun immediately called a taxi to take Nari to the hospital, but fate teased them and they accidentally got into Duckbong's car. The funny situation made both of them confused, but they still made it to the hospital with the support of the group of people accompanying them. When they arrived, Dujun carried Nari into the examination room. He gently placed her on the hospital bed. At this time, Nari was still dizzy from the aftershocks of the drinking party the night before. After taking her to the hospital room, Dujun left to pay the hospital bill. Meanwhile, Duckbong, the director of Dada Group, accidentally witnessed the scene and was surprised. He wondered about the strange relationship between Nari and Dujun when he saw the two living under the same roof. Nari did not answer directly. She just silently looked at him with an awkward expression. Nari was not ready to explain everything while her mind was still in turmoil. While the two were talking, a doctor came in with serious information. He warned that taking sleeping pills after consuming alcohol could be life-threatening. The doctor asked Nari to provide full information about the medicine she had used before. Nari answered slowly, but she still had many doubts about Dujun, the mysterious man living in her mother's old house. Afterwards, Nari called Dujun over to talk privately. During the tense conversation, she frankly asked why he was so worried about Nari. Dujun replied that he was her mother's legal husband, that is, Nari's stepfather. She was stunned by this confession. At first, Nari did not believe it and refused to accept this harsh truth. But when Dujun showed her a photo of him and her mother at their marriage registration a year ago, Nari was forced to face reality. Little by little, she gradually understood the truth behind the name Dujun. Soon after, Duckbong went to see Dujun hoping that he would sign a land sale contract. However, Dujun firmly refused. He insisted that he would never sell the land that was attached to the Hong dumpling shop. Duckbong invited Nari into the car to discuss the land that belonged to her family's inheritance. He affirmed that Dujun was actually her guardian father and had no blood relationship with Nari. She began following Dujun on the way home to observe his movements. When they got home, Dujun prepared a simple meal and advised Nari to take care of her health and not let the stress drag on. However, she still felt frustrated by the title of stepfather, person who was too unfamiliar. On this side, Jongjin was meeting Yoju at a small restaurant. He said he would visit Nari in a few days, but Yoju's face showed her displeasure. She seemed unhappy to hear that. At home, Nari was tormented by the fact that she had not been able to visit her mother when she was alive. She asked Dujun a few questions. Nari wanted to know if her mother had ever mentioned her to Dujun. He replied that she had, but not often. When asked about when she started working at the dumpling shop, Dujun said that it was all part of the mission he received from her mother. Later, when she returned to the shop, Nari made a bold decision. She conducted her own investigation into this man. Nari sneaked into Dujun's room like a secret agent. She hoped to find important evidence. Nari opened drawers, checked documents, and examined every single item in the quiet room. While she was rummaging through the pile of papers, she suddenly heard footsteps approaching. Before she could retreat, the door opened and Dujun walked in. He stood still for a moment and then looked at Nari with an unreadable gaze. Dujun's calm face still showed surprise. Startled by being caught, Nari tried to stay calm to face the situation before her. Dujun stood in front of the door, his gaze straightforward and not hiding his suspicion. He asked her what she was looking for in his private space. Nari quickly replied that she was just looking for her phone, but Dujun's eyes showed that he was not easily convinced. With his usual calmness, Dujun affirmed that everything in the room had been carefully arranged. His confidence and cold attitude made Nari waver and confused. She was no longer sure whether she should continue to doubt or start trusting this person. The next morning, Nari woke up early, focusing on preparing a special meal. She cooked elaborate dishes. The aroma spread throughout the small kitchen, making the atmosphere cozy. When everything was ready, Nari invited Dujun to eat as an act of reconciliation. Sitting at the dining table, Dujun did not hesitate to praise her cooking skills. He said that Nari was the strongest woman Dujun had ever met, which surprised and confused her in joy. The seemingly peaceful meal was interrupted by Jongjin's sudden appearance. The atmosphere immediately became tense. Dujun did not avoid it. He clearly showed his concern and frankly suggested that Jongjin should take Nari back to Seoul. Dujun instructed Jongjin to take good care of Nari. Those seemingly kind words made Nari feel looked down upon as a weak person who needed protection. She could not hide her anger. Nari decided to leave the dining table and turned around to go into the house, leaving the two men standing silently in the small yard. Each of them was wrapped in their own thoughts. thoughts. That seemingly short meeting left a silent aftershock in the minds of all three. Nari and Jongjin had a fierce argument revolving around Dujun and this troubled relationship. Harsh words poured out from both sides. Neither side gave in anger. Jongjin repeatedly asserted that Dujun was a scammer, an untrustworthy person, and not worthy of Nari's trust. He thought she needed to sober up. Nari should not let herself get caught up in the life of such an ambiguous person. That heated argument only made their relationship more and more cracked and cold. In Nari's heart, a new crack appeared, deeper and harder to heal than ever. After Jongjin left, she took the initiative to ask for Dujun's phone number. He did not refuse. He gently agreed with his usual calm demeanor. When Nari called, the phone rang with a familiar song. That melody made the space seem to stop, awakening sweet and warm memories in Nari's heart. Unable to hide her curiosity, she asked Dujun to sing that song for her. He did not hesitate. He sang a clear voice in the small sunny house. Nari sat quietly listening. Admiration was evident in her eyes. She did not expect that quiet man to bring such gentle emotions. Amidst the clear melodies, something warm began to sprout in Nari's heart, even if only for a moment. When packing her luggage to return to Seoul, Nari suddenly saw Jongjin waiting in front of the gate. His eyes showed concern mixed with worry. It seemed like he wanted to take her away. But not long after, Dukbong also appeared and offered to accompany Nari back to the capital. At that moment, Dujun spoke up. He wanted Dukbong to take her away. Nari hesitated, not knowing who to choose. A series of memories of joy, sadness, and inner turmoil arose in her heart. Nari knew that the choice ahead was important. She not only decided on the trip, but also oriented her uncertain heart. In the end, Nari decided to get into Dukbong's car. Dujun showed his determination with a cold gaze. He declared that he was willing to pay Jongjin 30 million won in exchange for his complete departure. However, what was more important was the warning. Jongjin was absolutely not allowed to appear in front of Nari again. Even though he could not always be by her side, Dujun still paid attention to Nari with all his silent observation. Every time he left, he always put her name at the top of his thoughts. One sunny day, Nari's uncle called her, bringing her surprising news. He said he couldn't come home on the anniversary of Nari's mother's death. She felt disappointed, worried, and somewhat hurt when no one close to her was by her side. Nari knew that there might be a deep reason behind that absence. But even though she understood, she still couldn't stop the anxiety and the growing void in her heart. On another morning, Nari came to find Dujun with a small, carefully prepared gift. Chose a sunny day, hoping to bring him some light joy. As she approached, Nari suddenly heard a tense voice coming from the inner room. The heavy tone made her stop. She couldn't bear to interrupt their private conversation. Each sad word coming from inside was like a needle piercing Nari's heart. Dujun's eyes showed worry. Worry and fatigue made her worried. Nari still stood silently outside the door. Her hands held the small gift, but her heart suddenly felt heavy. Nari felt like she was witnessing a deep hidden corner of that man's life. In that moment, she realized that her feelings for Dujun had gone beyond the initial level of admiration. It was growing, silently but surely. When the conversation ended, Nari breathed a sigh of relief as if a great burden had just been lifted. She reminded herself to continue bringing the gift to Dujun. However, when she stepped inside, Nari was surprised to see Dujun's back showing large tattoos. Those tattoos stretched across his skin, like a silent diary of his life. Every line on his skin raised questions about past and the things Dujun had never said. Nari couldn't hide her surprise and wondered what made him hide everything. Her feelings began to become complicated when facing a part of Dujun's true self. After a moment of silence, Nari approached and gently placed a small gift on the table in front of him. It was a box of cosmetics for men that she had carefully prepared. Nari's eyes were slightly nervous. Although she tried to hide it, she couldn't escape Dujun's sharp gaze. He quietly tore off the wrapping paper and opened the gift box with genuine surprise. Inside were high-end men's products that were delicate and suitable for a simple man like Dujun. His face lit up with unexpected joy, but also full of gratitude. Dujun said thank you. Although Dujun usually only cared about taking care of bonsai and cooking every day, the gift from Nari made him feel truly touched. That simple feeling seemed to have crept into the quiet life that Dujun always tried to maintain. He advised her to get more rest and emphasized the importance of sleep for her health. Soon after, Nari called Dukbong, who knew the real estate market well. The call led to a heated discussion about the land her mother had left her. The land was currently under Dujun's management. Nari and Dukbong discussed the development potential of the land. They considered the advantages of location and long-term use. With his extensive knowledge, Dukbong made useful suggestions on how to exploit the land effectively. They discussed the possibility of cooperation towards a mutually beneficial goal. Although the discussion seemed practical and professional, Nari still felt uneasy when she thought about Dujun. After a tiring day at work, Nari returned to the house where the two of them lived together. Knowing that Dujun was always concerned and did not suspect anything, Nari pretended to have a backache. Dujun immediately stood up. He hurriedly went to buy medicine without suspecting her intentions. As soon as Doo-jun left the house, Nari quickly sneaked into his private room to look for clues. She believed that there was something related to her mother's past in that room. Nari opened each drawer. She flipped through each document, checking the shelves on the floor. Nari's eyes did not leave any small details that could be clues to the truth. Meanwhile, Doo-jun rushed to the nearest pharmacy to buy medicine for Nari. He did not expect that this short trip would cause things to change suddenly when he returned. Just as Nari was searching in the room, she was discovered by Duck Shim, Duck Bong's younger sister. Not long ago, Duck Shim took a picture of Doo-jun while he was helping her fix her car. She also paid special attention to Doo-jun, even though it was only in secret. Elsewhere, Jongjin and Yoju were shopping in a light and happy atmosphere, but the joy quickly disappeared when Jongjin received a call from Nari. She asked him directly if he wanted to get back the 30 million won he had lent Nari. The unexpected question made Jongjin stand still, forcing him to think seriously and awkwardly. Yoju felt uneasy. Her eyes were filled with worry because Yoju knew that the bond between Jongjin and Nari had not really ended. She burst into tears and shared with Jongjin her difficulties with Nari. Feeling deeply hurt and forlorn, Yoju proposed going to meet Nari herself to make peace, but Jongjin flatly refused. He wanted to face Nari himself, not letting Yoju get involved any further. That determination left Yoju disappointed. She began to doubt her true position in his heart. Meanwhile, Doo-jun returned home empty-handed and with a confused expression. He said that the pharmacy no longer had the medicine she requested and brought in a snack. Nari took the tray, trying to stay calm while her mind was still in turmoil from the unsuccessful search. Duck Bong arrived at Doo-jun's house with a serious and clearly determined look. He announced that he would sue Doo-jun for forgery and land appropriation. Duck Bong said that the land belonged to Nari and she needed to make a decisive decision. He affirmed that he would investigate her mother's past to clarify the irregularities in the transfer papers. Doo-jun did not react violently but just quietly walked inside. He brought out a can of water and offered it to Duck Bong. Doo-jun asked him a few simple questions about his family, such as what his father did for a living and how many people were in his family, but Duck Bong did not answer. He kept his cool to maintain his advantage in negotiating over the land. Because Duck Bong needed the land, he had to be patient. After Duck Bong left, Nari stood on the porch, her eyes following his footsteps. A sudden question popped into her head, startling her. Where was Nari's mother's cell phone? She remembered that it was kept in a drawer at Doo-jun's house. Nari immediately turned around and asked Doo-jun to hand over the cell phone to her. Although her tone was not harsh, Nari's eyes clearly showed suspicion. She felt that the phone might contain important evidence related to the land. However, Doo-jun flatly refused, saying that Nari had no right to own the item. Not accepting the refusal, she continued to question him with more sensitive and aggressive questions. Nari asked if he had ever slept in the same room with her mother. The unexpected question made Doo-jun lose his composure. His eyes flashed with anger and hurt. The outburst of emotions made Doo-jun loudly and firmly reprimand Nari. Tense argument ensued between them. On the anniversary of their mother's death, both Nari and Doo-jun lit incense in front of the smoky altar. Nari told him about her childhood memories of lacking love from a father. She said that her mother was her friend, her sister, and her only support in life. While she was reminiscing, Jongjin suddenly appeared with 2 large jars of rice wine in his hands. Doo-jun quickly invited him into the house. Before that, Doo-jun had proactively met Jongjin to pay him. When the 2 bottles of wine were opened, and the distinctive aroma of rice spread throughout the small room, the wall-mounted oil lamp cast a soft yellow light on the cozy scene of a memorial meal. The 3 people sat around the table raising their glasses. Memories gently flowed with each sip of wine. Drunkenness gradually crept into her body, bringing with it vague emotions and nameless regrets. Elsewhere, Yoju kept sending messages to Jongjin when he didn't reply. A feeling of unease welled up in her heart as she thought about what might be happening. While Jongjin and Doo-jun were in a daze from the alcohol, Nari quietly entered Doo-jun's private room. She knew that her mission this time was to find the phone her mother left behind. Nari walked lightly, her eyes darting around every corner of the neatly arranged room. The strange details that appeared made her more suspicious, and she couldn't miss any trace. At the same time, Yoju decided to go to Hong Dumpling shop to meet Jongjin. On the way, she happened to meet Duck Shim cycling nearby. Yoju quickly asked for the shop's address. The girl innocently showed her the way. When she returned home, Nari was drunk and could no longer keep her composure. She faced Doo-jun with eyes filled with anger. Nari accused Jongjin of betraying her. In her drunken state, the pain and anger made Nari unable to hide her hurt. Doo-jun could not bear this chaos any longer. He pulled Jongjin outside to talk things out. The 2 had just left the yard when they met Yoju approaching with a conflicted look. At that moment, Nari realized the woman behind all her confusion and unhappiness. Facing Yoju, Nari no longer wanted to hide but was ready to speak out all the the anger she had been harboring for so long. She didn't have much time to hesitate. Nari shouted loudly in Yoju's face. Her heart ached. The words came out harshly, unable to keep calm. After the heated argument, Yoju decided to drive Jongjin home. Nari could only stood still, watching them go away in the quiet night. Full of disappointment, Nari felt left behind. She was lost in the nameless, screaming emotions. The hangover came. Dujin fell on Nari in the middle of the dark yard. The two of them accidentally hugged each other, their faces pressed together for a moment of speechlessness. By chance, Dukbong drove to the front of the house. He almost crashed into the two people lying on the ground. Dukbong got out of the car, looking confused and worried. He didn't understand what had just happened. Then, Dukbong made an important announcement. He said that tomorrow he would go to court to file for official inheritance. Dukbong said that the legal battle over the land would start here. There was no turning back. Dujin knew that Nari had intentionally called Jongjin to get him drunk. He was filled with anger, but instead of blaming him, Dujin chose to have a calm conversation. He reminded Nari not to act too strong when her soul was still hurt. Dujin advised her to learn to look back at her heart and consider her true feelings. Those words were not only out of concern, but also deep concern for Nari's feelings. Dujin understood that only by remaining calm could a person overcome all challenges. However, when mentioning Jongjin, he could no longer maintain his tolerant attitude as before. He bluntly criticized Jongjin for being selfish and unworthy of forgiveness. His anger was clearly revealed through Dujin's cold eyes and tone. He declared that he would never forgive that man, decisively and principledly. On the way Yoju took Jongjin home, he was still fast asleep. In a moment of silence, she secretly picked up his phone, her hands shaking slightly as she opened the screen. Yoju discovered that Jongjin had never told his mother that he had broken up with Nari. This truth made her feel deeply hurt, as if she had been sidelined in their current relationship. Unable to control emotions, Yoju pressed the photo icon on the phone and looked through each photo. On the screen appeared happy moments between Jongjin and Nari, the two of them shining together. Nari's bright smile in each photo made Yoju's heart ache. In a moment of loss of control, she pressed the button to delete all the photos of Nari from the phone. Yoju did not want Jongjin's family to see the image of the man she loved with someone else. It was a selfish decision, but for Yoju, it was an act to protect the most fragile thing. In another development, Dukshim suddenly came to Dujun's house and entered his room. She saw Dujun sleeping soundly. Dukshim gently covered him with a blanket and arranged his pillow properly. At the same time, Nari was sitting meticulously in the corner of the yard, making a temporary key. When she walked towards the secret room, she did not know that Dukshim had quietly followed behind. As soon as Nari stepped inside the special room, Dukshim suddenly locked the door from the outside. She thought it was right because Dukshim did not want anyone to invade Dujun's private space. The next morning, Dujun woke up looking tired after a deep sleep. He looked around the room but did not see Nari, only saw the house was quiet and strange. Dujun began to panic and wondered if she had left without leaving a message. As he passed by the warehouse, he suddenly heard a weak voice calling from inside. It was Nari's voice, soft but urgent in worry. Dujun rushed over. He opened the locked door and helped her out with a surprised look in his eyes. After Dujun unlocked the door and freed her, Nari immediately turned around and blamed him. She thought Dujun was the one who had intentionally locked her in that cold room, but Dujun insisted that he had absolutely no idea what had happened and had never returned home. The suspicion made the two decide to search for the person who had entered the house and locked the door. Meanwhile, Jongjin woke up and found Yoju waiting in his house. She said that she was worried all night because he didn't come home and took the opportunity to criticize Nari badly. Yoju not only blamed Nari for humiliating her, but also sabotaged Jongjin's car. Yoju wanted Jongjin to realize that the person who should be eliminated from their lives was Nari. At the same time, Nari and Dujun visited her mother's grave. Dujun asked why Nari tried to enter the warehouse to search for secrets. Nari honestly answered that she didn't understand everything that was going on in this house. Nari admitted that she still had many doubts that needed to be clearly answered. Dujun began to share the reason why he signed the papers to become Nari's legal father. Dujun said that it was the only way to keep the land from the bad guys. He advised her not to dig any deeper if she didn't want to unintentionally get caught up in dangerous threats. Although Nari was silent, her eyes showed that she didn't give up easily. Soon after, Dukbong called and asked her to bring the seal that her uncle had left behind. He said that the other side had sent more documents and wanted to transfer the land use right quickly. Meanwhile, Nari's uncle came to see Dujun. He informed her that a group of people knew that Nari's mother had passed away. They were trying to force her to hand over the land to convert it into investment assets for the development company. At the airport, Dukbong appeared nervous and kept looking towards the exit. His mind was filled with nameless thoughts and a series of unanswered questions. Among them, the biggest question was whether whether Nari had brought the seal or not. As soon as Nari stepped out of the door, Dukbong's eyes immediately lit up as if waiting for an opportunity. He approached, unable to hide his urgency. Dukbong asked her if she had brought the seal, because if Nari had brought the seal, it would completely change all the agreements between the parties involved. To his surprise, Dujun calls Nari to ask something important. He wanted to confirm whether anyone had ever sent her any documents or legal files. Nari replied that there had not been any, but she guessed that Dujun was in the archives. Elsewhere, Yoju suddenly saw Dukbong and was immediately attracted by his bright appearance. Dukbong's cold and calm demeanor made Yoju unable to take her eyes off him. From that moment on, Yoju always tried to appear near his workplace. She began to use many sophisticated tricks to attract Dukbong's attention. In another development, Dujun gave Nari's uncle some money and asked him to leave. After that, he continued to clean up the archives where many old documents were kept. On a gentle autumn afternoon, Dujun happened to meet Duk Shim riding a bicycle near his house. He smiled and walked closer. His face radiated a rare friendliness and warmth. Duk Shim turned around. She was surprised to recognize an old acquaintance, and the two of them smiled gently. They stood chatting together. The autumn wind blew gently, creating a gentle scene. Dujun suddenly remembered the time when Duk Shim cried because she lost her beloved bicycle. He understood that for her, it was a meaningful keepsake and she longed to find it again. Therefore, Dujun quietly made a plan to find the bicycle as a gift to compensate for her spirit. He followed every small clue. Dujun went through many stores and asked acquaintances. Finally, he was lucky to find Duk Shim's lost bicycle. When receiving the unexpected gift, Duk Shim burst into joy and her eyes were filled with emotion. Her smile was brighter than ever. Duk Shim hugged the bicycle as if she were hugging her childhood. That bicycle was not just a simple gift, but also a beautiful memory, deeply engraved in her heart. It was also a sincere bond between two people who had accompanied each other through difficult times. Nari sent Dujun a photo taken from the cockpit where she had just completed a long flight. In the photo, the vast sky and sunlight shining through the clouds created a mesmerizing scene. The photo was not only a greeting, but also a way for Nari to share a small joy with him. It was a moment that crossed hundreds of miles of space, but was close emotionally. At the same time, Dukbong asked his sister if she wanted to pursue Dujun. Right, but Duk Shim snapped. She said, "What did you know?" Duk Shim's stubbornness left Dukbong helpless, but he kept quiet to observe. Meanwhile, Nari received a document sent to her home by the court. The white paper unfolded like an unfinished painting, making her feel suffocated. It was a legal document related to the disputed land and an accompanying fine. Unable to handle it herself, Nari immediately called Dukbong to ask for specific information. He explained that these were legal fees and late payment penalties related to the land contract. That same day, a close friend of Nari visited her home on a sunny afternoon. Her friend offered to take Nari to an office to retrieve some important documents. After thanking her friend, Nari got in the car and the two went to the pre-arranged place. At the office, Nari waited for quite a while, feeling nervous and anxious. As the wait time dragged on longer than expected, she began to feel uneasy about where she was sitting. At that moment, two strange men suddenly appeared and sat across from Nari. They mentioned an old debt that her biological father had borrowed from their organization. Nari was extremely confused because this was the first time she had heard of such a large debt. Nari was in turmoil, trying to remember every detail related to her father whom she had never met. The two strangers did not threaten her, but their eyes made Nari even more confused. Not knowing what to do, she tightly held the bag in her hand and silently thought about her next step. Nari understood that things were getting out of control. Luckily, Dujun appeared in time and walked straight into the office with a stern look. He stood in front of Nari and asked the two men not to bother her anymore. Dujun showed a decisive attitude and protected Nari with all his strength. After pushing away the troubles, Dujun held Nari's hand and walked out of the office peacefully. The afternoon atmosphere became pleasant. The wind blew gently through their shoulders as they walked together. Nari felt secure in that moment. Her heart felt warmed after many storms. But before she could say thank you, Dujun suddenly stopped and fell to the sidewalk. The sudden dizziness made him lose his balance, his face pale in the gentle sunlight. Nari panicked, holding Dujun, trying to shake him, even though she didn't understand what was happening. Since childhood, Dujun had special feelings for Nari, and she was the first and only love of his life. As time passed, that feeling quietly grew with each season of falling leaves in the garden. But an unexpected incident changed everything in the lives of the two. When Nari's mother had been at risk of losing her house due to a debt that was difficult to pay, Dujun had made a bold decision that surprised and doubted everyone. He had married Nari's mother, not out of love, but to legalize ownership of the land. For Dujun, keeping the house meant keeping Nari's childhood and peace intact. Back to reality, when Dujun woke up, his eyes were filled with worry and anxiety. Although he said he was fine, Dujun knew that his health was gradually declining. Nari felt it clearly. Her eyes showed worry mixed with silent anger. Nari advised him to go to the doctor immediately, not to be subjective when his body showed signs of alarm. Her voice was firm but filled with love. Dujun nodded slightly. He took her worry as a necessary reminder. Elsewhere, Yoju made an appointment to meet Jongjin at a cafe to discuss private matters. She told him that Nari had just received a debt notice from a loan shark. Jongjin was confused by the story. He did not expect that the girl was under such pressure. However, their conversation was suddenly interrupted when someone entered the room. A group of Yoju's colleagues came in and started chatting, causing the atmosphere to become tense. Among them was Nari, who had been quietly standing behind. Her sudden appearance caused the air in the room to freeze. Everyone in the room discovered Jongjin's flirting. The situation became worse when Nari's senior, a person with great prestige in the industry, appeared. The superior quickly realized that the situation and everyone's attitudes were changing. The pressure on Nari was not only from personal matters, but also from honor in the work environment. She stood silently, keeping her face calm, but inside Nari was so emotional that she couldn't breathe. The superior refused to let go of Nari's accidental involvement in personal rumors. The gossip from her colleagues spread quickly, making the atmosphere even more tense. Faced with the criticism of everyone around him, Jongjin couldn't help but feel embarrassed and tense. Jongjin met Nari privately to resolve the situation. He asked her about the debt Nari had borrowed from loan sharks, but contrary to expectations, she calmly responded with confidence and clarity. Nari affirmed that she would handle it herself and that no one needed to interfere in her personal affairs. Jongjin couldn't help but be surprised, but at the same time realized that Nari was no longer the same as before. She was no longer a vulnerable woman, but someone who knew how to protect herself. At the same time, Nari decided to take a long-term leave and moved to live at the dumpling shop. Unable to hide the matter any longer, she took the initiative to meet Duckbong to tell him the truth. Nari revealed that her biological father had once borrowed a large sum of money and had run away without a trace. That truth was a secret between her and Dujun, and Nari only had Dujun left to trust. She hoped that the love in the dumpling house could become a support when she fell into crisis. Duckbong listened silently. He realized that, for the first time, she opened her heart so sincerely. Not long after, Nari arranged to meet Dujun at the park, where the sunlight filtered through the green leaves. They sat next to each other in a peaceful space. Nari looked into Dujun's eyes and asked him about the memories related to her mother. Dujun gently began to tell, his face showing a hint of nostalgia and emotion that he could not hide. He grew up in the Hansol orphanage, a place that was simple but warm with humanity. That was where Nari's mother often visited to do charity work with all her kindness. Not only did she bring gifts and cakes, but Nari's mother also spent time playing with and taking care of each child. To Dujun, she was the first woman who made him feel maternal tenderness. Dujun said that she was the one who taught him about joy, trust, and the concept of home. And because of that memory, Dujun was determined to protect the house where Nari's mother lived with all his might. Nari quietly listened to every word Dujun said. Her heart was filled with deep respect. Nari didn't come just to get to know more about her mother. She also wanted to understand the man who had once been a part of her mother's life. Every detail Dujun told her helped her realize that his heart was always full of love and perseverance. In Nari's heart, Dujun's image was not only that of a land keeper, but that of a memory keeper. She secretly felt the warmth, the feeling that Nari had long lost in the hustle and bustle of life. Elsewhere, Jongjin called Nari after completing a money transfer transaction. He confirmed that he had transferred the money directly to her along with a notice that the debt had been paid. Jongjin informed her that Dujun was the one who paid the debt on Nari's behalf. The amount was up to 30 million won. The news surprised Nari. Her emotions were mixed between gratitude and confusion. Nari immediately went to see Dujun with the desire to thank him directly. But when she saw a familiar figure in the distance, she faltered. Nari's heart pounded. All the memories of their complicated relationship resurfaced fiercely. She hid behind a tree, her eyes fixed on Dujun, who was waiting. Nari did not approach but only silently observe. But in the end, she could no longer continue to avoid it. When her heart urged her to be clear, Nari stepped out of her hiding place and walked towards Dujun with a determined look. Full of sincere emotions, their eyes met. She was the one who spoke first, choking with emotion. Nari questioned why Dujun paid the debt for her without saying a word, without warning. This made Nari feel indebted to him, not only for the money, but also for Dujun's love and kindness. She understood that between them at this moment there was no longer a boundary of a formal relationship. The complicated emotions were growing, becoming an inevitable turning point in Nari's heart. At the same time, Duckbong met with Dujun to resume negotiations about the land. Despite the attractive offers, Dujun still firmly refused any agreements related to the franchise. He affirmed that the land was not something to be bargained for with money. Duckbong did not give up. He continued to argue about the strong financial potential of the data company. Duckbong believed that Dujun would would soon be forced when the economic benefits exceeded his resistance. However, Doo-jun responded with silence and a calm, unwavering look, believed that the true value of the land did not lie in the amount of money but in the immeasurable things. That was the place that Nari's mother had been attached to. It was a memory. It was the only foundation that Doo-jun still held. For him, no matter what legal or financial threats lay ahead, Doo-jun would not give up. Faced with Doo-jun's steadfast spirit, Bong was forced to adjust his entire strategy. After the meeting, he left in silence. Meanwhile, Doo-jun took the initiative to ask Nari to buy a fresh oxtail. He wanted to prepare a special party to thank all the employees in the dumpling shop. Their feelings gradually revealed themselves through simple actions, but containing sincere care. Not only did Nari buy the oxtail, she also cooked it herself to bring out the most complete flavor. Every day, she took care of every step to ensure that the dish was cooked deliciously and to everyone's taste. The cozy meals were not only for enjoyment, but also connected them into a small family. The atmosphere in the dumpling shop became cheerful. The employees laughed and shared with each other. One afternoon, when Nari was on her way back, she was secretly followed by Duck Shim from afar. Nari did not know. She went to meet Bong. During the meeting, Bong revealed the reason why Doo-jun accepted to be her legal father. Nari and Doo-jun arranged to meet by the lake where they often visited. The quiet space, the gentle wind blowing, made the scene strangely peaceful. Nari's heart fluttered when she saw Doo-jun's figure from afar. Still calm and punctual as always, she felt protected. Nari felt a feeling that she had long thought she had lost in her life. Doo-jun did not come empty-handed. He carried a small box that was carefully and discreetly wrapped. When he handed it to her, his eyes shone with an indescribable feeling mixed with tenderness. Nari opened the box and was speechless when she saw her mother's old phone. She couldn't hold back her tears when she discovered that the precious photos from the past were kept inside. Every moment of daily life, smiles, and affectionate hugs were captured on the camera. Nari scrolled through each photo. Nari's heart was filled with both warm and uncertain emotions, as if she was standing in front of memories. The appearance of Doo-jun in her life and that special gift made Nari feel grateful. She realized that she was no longer alone, because Nari always had someone silently by her side to protect and understand. People from the Dada Group's finance department directly met Nari and Doo-jun. After asking around, they wanted to verify all the information about Doo-jun. The stories from the people around made them suspicious, but also questioned his identity. Nari was speechless when she heard positive comments about the man beside her. She began to look back at Doo-jun's actions and silently felt deep gratitude. Without hesitation, Nari went to Doo-jun. She hugged him tightly as a silent expression of her feelings. But at the same time, Nari asked him to leave the house that she owned. Doo-jun listened silently and refused. He carried her straight into the house. Nari sighed and said that she remembered the old things when she was a child. The vague memories that she thought she had forgotten suddenly came back clearly in her mind. Nari recalled every detail of her childhood, the brief meetings between her mother and Doo-jun. At that time, he was just a child in an orphanage, but left a deep impression. Hearing that, Doo-jun only asked her to listen to him, not to doubt and trust him completely. Doo-jun knew that what he did would make her tired, but it was something he couldn't stop. Just when the atmosphere calmed down, Yoju suddenly appeared at the house in a state of severe intoxication. Under the influence of alcohol, she could not control her actions and caused an uncontrollable chaos. As soon as she entered, Yoju staggered towards Nari with the intention of causing trouble immediately. She lost her balance and fell towards Doo-jun, creating an unexpectedly ironic situation. Nari then pushed Yoju away, but in the chaos, she bumped into Doo-jun. Both fell to the floor, creating a scene that left everyone speechless with surprise. Yoju, in her drunken state, began to talk nonsense and cry without control of her actions. She laughed and told that she was ostracized by her friends and that no one was on her side anymore. Yoju suddenly hugged Nari. She held on while blaming her unfair fate and the coldness of the world. The small, peaceful house now became a chaotic place because of her erratic emotions. Nari immediately warned Doo-jun not to get close to Yoju because she often robbed other people's things. Doo-jun asked her again, his face filled with surprise. "Am I Nari's possession?" She shook her head and said nothing more. But Nari's heart was in turmoil with many conflicting emotions. She realized that she was standing in the middle of a strange situation she had never experienced before. Doo-jun was used to a simple, peaceful life with a small kitchen and a steady job. But now, Yoju's sudden appearance was threatening to turn everything upside down. That morning, Yoju could not hide her joy. She immediately posted a photo taken at Nari's house online. The photo showed Nari and Doo-jun having an intimate breakfast. They both smiled brightly at the camera. Many people were surprised, thinking that the two were still close friends like before. The overwhelming compliments made the post quickly attract hundreds of shares. However, when Nari discovered this, she immediately became angry. She reacted harshly, criticizing Yoju for arbitrarily occasionally posting photos in a private space. Faced with that tough attitude, Yoju changed the subject. She revealed that Jongjin was about to go on a long-term business trip to Hong Kong with the intention of getting married after the trip. Yoju also said that if she went with Jongjin, she would leave Nari and not bother her anymore. But that offer did not calm Nari down. On the contrary, it pushed the argument to a climax. Nari did not hesitate to say that Yoju was shameless and lived off others. The harsh words exposed the long broken relationship between the two women. Despite being humiliated, Yoju remained confident and fought back with provocative words. She said that she was having everything that Nari had ever dreamed of having in her life. That confrontation caused the distance between them to be irreparable, leaving only silent resentment, and things seemed to become even more complicated when Dukbong suddenly appeared afterwards. He brought the land purchase contract. Dukbong tried to convince Nari to sign to complete the transaction, but like many times before, she firmly refused. On the way to the car, Dukbong unexpectedly met Yoju. When she mentioned that Dujun was Nari's legal stepfather, Yoju panicked. Nari immediately covered Dukbong's mouth, not letting him say another word. At the same time, she hurriedly asked Dujun to go back inside immediately. From then on, Dujun started to intentionally avoid Nari whenever she appeared near him. The sudden separation made the atmosphere in the dumpling shop stifling and confusing. The employees working with Dujun could not hide their curiosity when they saw the boss's strange attitude, but no matter who asked, he still chose to remain silent and avoid any specific explanations. Meanwhile, Nari could not bear the feeling of ambiguity and the growing distance. She decided to solve the problem by confronting him directly once and for all. One sunny morning, Nari went to the small garden where Dujun often grew vegetables. When she saw a familiar figure, the emotions in her heart immediately rose strongly. Nari walked closer and began to open her heart. She recounted the bitter memories from her childhood with her mother. When she said that part, Nari's tears kept falling because the pain had never healed. She cried and talked about the silent hurt that always made Nari's heart heavy. At that time, Dujun was quietly by her side. He did not rush to comfort her, but gently showed her how to grow vegetables. Dujun explained that her mother used those nicknames not because of hatred, but because of helplessness and fatigue. In Dujun's heart, she was a woman who endured and loved her children in her own way. At the same time, Dada's financial people accidentally met Nari's uncle at a sauna. Not missing the opportunity, they immediately took him to meet the group's chairman to set conditions. The chairman coldly declared that if they followed the orders, he and his niece would be safe. That statement was like a carefully laid trap that put Nari's uncle in a difficult position. Back to Nari, she asked Dujun to teach her to ride a bike as a way to relieve stress. He agreed, and the two of them chose a deserted, tree-lined road along a peaceful river. As the sunlight filtered through the leaves, Nari tried to keep her balance on the wobbly bike. Although she was unsteady at first, thanks to Dujun's patience, she gradually regained her confidence and mastered the steering wheel. Laughter rang out in the quiet scene as if all the pain was being soothed. Nari felt like she was living her true emotions for the first time. She was not afraid or cautious. The two had experienced both challenging and joyful moments during the bike lesson. Dujun was always patiently walking beside her, ready to catch Nari whenever she lost her balance. In another corner, Dukshim secretly followed them, overwhelmed with anxiety and nervous tension. When she couldn't control her steps, she bumped into Nari's bike. The strong impact caused Nari to fall to the ground. Her body collided violently, causing serious injuries. Nari painfully held her stomach. She couldn't stand up by herself, and her breathing became more difficult. Dukshim immediately called her brother, asking Dukbong to come to the scene immediately. Meanwhile, Nari tried to stay calm. She called Dujun herself for help. As soon as she received the call, Dujun did not hesitate. He quickly called an ambulance for help. He also immediately ran to her side, putting Nari in the ambulance with extreme worry in his eyes. At the hospital, Nari was taken in for a general checkup to determine the exact extent of her injuries. While the doctors were working, Dujun was always on standby in the hallway with a tense expression. Not long after, Dukbong appeared and was angry when he knew that his younger sister had caused the incident. He scolded Dukshim for her impulsiveness and asked her to apologize to Nari immediately. When she woke up, Nari agreed to meet Dukshim in the hospital room. Her eyes were no longer cheerful like before, but carried obviously hurt. Nari frankly asked if that action was intentional or just an accident. In the face of such direct questioning, Dukshim did not avoid it, but admitted that everything was intentional. Not stopping there, she also harshly said that Nari was a shameless two-timing person. Those words were like a knife cutting through her trust, leaving her speechless. On the way back, Dukshim asked suddenly her brother if he liked Nari. However, Dukbong did not answer directly, but only said that Nari and Dujin were stepfather and daughter. This makes Dukshim very happy. Yoju stood before Jongjin with a confident look, saying that she had succeeded in making peace with Nari. Yoju explained that after many collisions tensions and conflicts, they finally found a way to put all the conflicts aside, and the two of them re-established their old relationship. Yoju couldn't hide her joy when talking about the healing process that she once thought was impossible. Jongjin nodded in agreement because he himself testified the change in his ex-girlfriend. During the time Nari was in the hospital, Doo-jun was by her bedside without leaving her side. He took care of everything for her. From medicine to meals, he took care of every little thing. Not only was he there day and night, Doo-jun also quietly asked for leave from work to stay by Nari's side for a long time. His feelings for her were not just temporary concern, but a steadfast heart. The hospital became the place where Nari witnessed the unconditional devotion of the silent man. At that moment, Doo-jun's foster father appeared and continued to threaten him with an arrogant tone. That man kept threatening to harm Nari if Doo-jun didn't hand over the land. After being discharged from the hospital, Nari went to Dukbong's house to see Duk Shim after everything. The atmosphere in the house, which was originally peaceful, suddenly became quiet because of the meaningful meeting. Nari chose to speak softly. She clearly showed her sincerity and her desire to clear up the misunderstanding. Nari not only apologized but also expressed her gratitude when Duk Shim bravely admitted her mistake first. The atmosphere gradually became more pleasant when Duk Shim also sincerely apologized and admitted his jealousy towards Nari. The conversation ended in sympathy and agreement. They had a chance to create a better relationship. Just when everything seemed to be stable, the police suddenly appeared at Doo-jun's house. The atmosphere became tense when they announced that they had received an official complaint. The person who filed the complaint was Jung Nam, Nari's legal uncle. He accused Doo-jun of many serious crimes, including illegal detention, intimidation, and violence. The police read out the list of crimes, including kidnapping and violation of personal freedom. Doo-jun was stunned, unable to believe that someone he had once been close to would turn his back so cruelly. He knew he had never done anything wrong. Doo-jun had never harmed anyone around him, but the accusation was so specific that he suspected that there was some force behind the manipulation. Without delay, Doo-jun immediately called Dukbong to check the legal information. During a private meeting between the two, he confided his suspicions about Dada's financial side. Doo-jun said that the representative of Dada's financial side was Byung-woo, who had raised him since he was a child. That complicated relationship made things more confusing and unpredictable than before. Dukbong began to suspect that the lawsuit was part of a plan to forcibly seize the land. He knew that Dada was trying every way to own the land that Doo-jun was protecting to the end. Doo-jun and Dukbong feel the need to investigate and clear things up. They want to protect Doo-jun's honor and freedom and expose all of their rivals' plots. Dukbong emphasizes to Nari that everything has changed since he started talking to her. Dukbong's life has become much more interesting. He can't stop paying attention to Nari. He is always impressed by her insight, intelligence, and unique beauty. Every time they meet, Dukbong finds himself immersed in her words and laughter. At the same time, Nari silently watches the developments with mixed feelings and worries. However, when Dukbong expresses his desire to date her, Nari flatly refuses. She says that she doesn't want to start another relationship right now. Nari explains that her life is going through many complicated changes. She needs time alone to focus on herself and her immediate goals. Dukbong understands and respects her decision, but he still secretly hoped that in the future, they could try again if they were both ready. The next day, Doo-jun met Nari at the riverside and asked her to forget him and leave. Nari stopped by her neighbor's house to help her wrap dumplings. In the quiet afternoon, she told her old memories, her childhood when Nari's father used to take her out. Nari recalled that trip with excitement and precious memories. She couldn't stop laughing, while the neighbor also happily followed each story. They had time to enjoy the warm moments. Sharing old stories, the dumplings became the center of the meeting, fragrant, as if recalling childhood. The familiar smell brought them back to the old days, when family affection was still warm. Dukbong's father visited the museum. He recalled the land dispute. Nari returned to the dumpling shop, her eyes glowing as if she were carrying something special. She asked Doo-jun to change into beautiful clothes to prepare to go to a special place with Nari. Doo-jun nodded in agreement. He was excited, not knowing where she would take him. They got on the bus together. Nari began to tell stories about their childhood. Warm memories and small adventures brought them closer and made them understand each other better. Finally, they stopped in front of the luxurious restaurant that Nari had carefully chosen. Nari kept talking about preparing for their first date today. She emphasized the importance of this day and her feelings for Doo-jun. When they sat together, Nari leaned her head on Doo-jun's shoulder for comfort. The quiet silence and passionate eyes spoke volumes about their feelings. Doo-jun was especially attentive. He carried her on his back because Nari hurt her leg while walking. That sincere care made her feel warm and special. They had a memorable and meaningful date together. Jongjin took Yoju to meet his close friends at the gathering. When they saw Yoju, they all kept praising her beauty. Everyone exclaimed that Yoju was truly truly a rare beauty. Their eyes kept glancing at her with admiration and delight. Not only was Yoju attractive, but she also scored points for her friendliness. She quickly became the center of attention at the meeting, being asked questions continuously. Yoju felt happier and more confident than ever thanks to the welcome. On this side, Jongjin called Nari, but she did not pick up the phone nor reply. He texted Nari, saying that he didn't know what he had done wrong during the past days. Yoju saw that and threw Jongjin's phone to the ground in anger. Yoju said he was the worst man she had ever met. Anger flared up like a storm in her heart. Yoju felt deeply hurt and bitter words came out. She wondered if she should continue to endure or let it all go. Yoju realized that life should not be for those who hurt themselves. She felt that she deserved more and did not want to be a victim anymore. Suddenly, Shim came to see Nari and said that she had something important to share. She asked when Nari would be going to Seoul, but when she saw Dujun, she quickly left. Shim immediately called her brother and said that Nari would be going to Seoul this morning. Bong came to pick her up and drove her to Seoul in the familiar car every day. When Nari left, Dujun felt a sense of loss. He seemed to miss her very much. Dujun decided to call Nari to go home to get some books that he had left there. Before meeting her, he felt nervous and worried about confessing his feelings. Dujun knew that Nari was his childhood best friend and was afraid that it would ruin their relationship. When they met again, he tried to act normal and said that he just wanted to give her a few books, but then he couldn't keep his composure. Dujun admitted that there was something important. He stood before Nari with a choked look in his eyes, saying what he had been holding back for a long time. Since childhood, Dujun had always secretly liked her, keeping his feelings hidden. He remembered his childhood with Nari by his side as his only close friend. Dujun couldn't hold back anymore. His heart urged him to say everything. Dujun approached and placed a kiss on her lips, full of love and sincerity. In that moment, the world seemed to stop, leaving only burning love. Nari and Dujun arrived at the bus stop. She got on and he hurriedly followed. Both of them sat on the bus, not saying a word, but the feelings were overflowing inside. They went to the next stop. Dujun said softly that he had to get off here. Nari looked at Dujun with a choked gaze, saying nothing, just silently feeling. She knew that this meeting was just a small part of their long story. But in Nari's heart, happiness was spreading like spring sunshine. They understood that they would meet again soon because love was still waiting at the end of the road. After that, Nari decided to call Dujun in the hope that he would send pictures. They started chatting via text messages. Everything gradually became closer and more intimate. Shim went to the dumpling shop to apply for a job, wearing an outfit that made her look a bit old. On this side, Jongjin contacted Nari so that the two of them could sit down and talk about the past. They needed to face the secrets of the past, especially the fact that they had never been married. Although their feelings were very deep, every time Jongjin mentioned it, Nari avoided it. He decided to give her a special gift that her mother left before she passed away. The gift is not only precious, but also a symbol of love and family sharing. When Jongjin said that Dujun was seriously ill and in critical condition, Nari immediately borrowed a friend's car to go. That action showed her sincere feelings and concern for Dujun. Immediately after that, Jongjin and Yoju had a fierce argument. Harsh words and hateful eyes were like unstoppable weapons. They argued fiercely, exchanging harshly criticism and refusing to forgive. Finally, in the midst of that conflict, Yoju could no longer hold back her tears. Hot tears silently slid down her face, full of pain. She could no longer bear it. The overwhelming emotions took over her soul. The small tear contained a world of disappointment and a desire to be understood. Yoju cried not only for herself, but also for her feelings for Jongjin. Now that relationship is broken after this argument. After immediately returning to her hometown, Nari rushed to see Dujun. After hearing that he had fainted again, she couldn't contain her worries and decided to face the situation. Nari asked Dujun what illness he had that caused him to be in such a state. Dujun looked deeply into Nari's worried eyes. He didn't answer right away. Instead, Dujun gently hugged. His heart was beating wildly. Dujun knew he needed to explain. Finally, he admitted his illness. Dujun said that it probably came from the dark past he had endured. Nari felt confused. She didn't understand what Dujun had gone through. Nari felt deeply worried about the man she loved. But then Nari remembered something important. It was a poem she wrote for Dujun. In it, Nari shared her emotional thoughts about true love and sacrifice. The poem was her way of expressing her love, hoping that Dujun would understand Nari's soul. Dujun read each line with emotional eyes. He understood that their love was special and could not be abandoned. Nari went to the museum to meet Bong. She was asked to investigate Shim's situation while in Seoul. After that, Nari asked Dujun to go to the greenhouse where he usually grows vegetables. There, she said to end their father-daughter relationship and start a date, but Dujun did not agree. He told Nari to wait for him a little longer. A representative met Dujun and recalled the sad history of the past. The man who died in the extremely strange fight with Dujun was Nari's father. This made the story even more sad. That memory haunted his mind. Dujun believed that Nari's father was not dead. He wanted to confirm it personally for sure. When he returned to his peaceful home after a long day of work, that memory reappeared. The image of the man who had fallen in battle still haunted Do-jun's mind. That scene was so deeply imprinted in his memory that he could not escape the pain. Forgiveness did not always exist, and Do-jun never forgave himself. The obsession with that man made Do-jun's life exhausting. The long, dark nights were when he had to face the past and the pain. However, Do-jun still longed to find happiness in the future ahead. Dukbong's father asked Dukbong to take back the land of the Hong dumpling shop for him. A friend of Nari came to the dumpling shop to talk to Do-jun. She scolded him harshly, but Nari blamed her friend in return. Nari blamed her for saying such things, which caused a rift in their friendship. Yoju went to the hospital to visit her father, who had been hospitalized for a long time due to a serious illness. Her heart was filled with anxiety and hope that her father would feel better. When she entered the room, Yoju unexpectedly met Dukbong again. After a long time apart, she felt happy, but when she asked him if he had missed her, Dukbong just looked at Yoju with cold eyes and said nothing. She felt disappointed and angry at his incomprehensible indifference. At that moment, Yoju was attracted by the screams and cries for help outside the door. She turned her head and was surprised to see Duk Shim being dragged away by a group of strangers. They were rushing to put her into a car parked in front of the hospital. Yoju's heart suddenly ached. She didn't think much and immediately acted. Yoju walked out of the room, quickly ran towards the car with determination. With courage, she freed Duk Shim from the hands of strange men. When she got home, Nari immediately called Do-jun to inform him that she had reconciled with her friend. Do-jun went to Dada Finance Company to meet Nari's uncle to ask about past. He wanted to know the truth about Nari's father in the past. The scriptwriters of the show, Three Heavenly Kings of Food and Drink, decided to go to a dumpling shop. They wanted to film the next episode and look for a unique dish. Dumplings were considered the perfect choice to introduce to the television audience. However, when they proposed the idea, Do-jun flatly refused without explanation. That made the scriptwriters have to try harder to convince him and find out the reason. They began to question the secret behind Do-jun's unique dumplings. Dada's representative, Mu, asked Nari's uncle a challenging question in the conference room. The silence that filled the room made the atmosphere heavy and tense. The representative continued to mention that if it weren't for Do-jun, the land would have belonged to him. That statement made everyone pay attention to Do-jun's special position in this confrontation. The questions raised were not only challenges but also complicated trade-offs. The situation now revolved around each person's interests, responsibilities, and personal feelings. Nari asked Do-jun to go to the temple to talk about her father, and she shared her childhood dream. Here, Nari clearly affirmed her sincere feelings for Do-jun all this time. The representative from Dada Finance Company appeared at Do-jun's dumpling shop. He brought the official certificate of Nari's biological father's death. The atmosphere in the shop became tense and heavy as the news spread. Painful memories from the past suddenly arose in Do-jun's mind. He stood still with a blank gaze looking at the certificate from Dada. It felt like Do-jun's world was collapsing. To him, everything became vague and chaotic. However, Do-jun did not allow himself to be defeated by that despair. He warned the representative with a fierce gaze and an unyielding spirit. Do-jun knew in his heart that he did not want to return to the dark path of the past. Even though he was facing loss, he never gave up hope and determination. Do-jun wanted to build a better life for himself and for Nari. Nari is not only the lover he is protecting but also the memory of the father. That night, Yoju asked Dukbong out for dinner. She wanted to re-establish a new relationship. Yoju entered the dumpling shop with a suspicious, nervous, and worried look. She heard that Nari quit her job because of Do-jun. That made Yoju uneasy. She felt like Nari's life was turned upside down by Do-jun's appearance. Yoju wanted to know more about the developing relationship between the two of them. Meanwhile, Dukbong was worried and confused about his feelings. He had kept something important a secret for so long, but could not hide it anymore. Dukbong admitted that he had liked Nari for a long time in silence. That feeling made the relationship between Dukbong and Nari more tense. He understood that if he didn't speak out, everything would become messy and unclear. Hidden secrets and overlapping feelings were dragging everyone into a vortex. From there, the story became complicated, emotional, and full of changes. Nari's uncle came to the dumpling shop and caught Do-jun and Nari about to kiss. His eyes were full of anger, but also held shock and surprise. Do-jun stood silently looking at Nari's uncle. Pent-up emotions began to penetrate his heart. Faced with the uncle's demands, Do-jun felt as though he was facing a huge change. However, he could not abandon Nari, the girl whom he had devoted himself to protecting. Nari fell into a dilemma when confronted with the tension between two familiar people. She felt the pressure weighing down on her shoulders, making her reasoning more and more confused. Love and family responsibilities began to clash in her troubled mind. Nari understood that she had to make a decision that could change her life. She asked Do-jun why he had hadn't told her about the invalid marriage lawsuit. Do-jun replied that he had to win the lawsuit because that place was more precious than Nari. However, Nari said that she didn't want them to be in a situation of stepfather and daughter. Therefore, she decided not to testify in the upcoming trial. Early in the morning, the writers gathered at the dumpling shop where they often met. They brought cups of fragrant, fatty, and slightly bitter coffee as a way to show their respect. Their presence was a way to thank those who had accompanied the program. The dumpling makers at the shop welcomed the writers with their familiar friendliness and warmth. The two became close friends throughout the creative journey. A cup of hot coffee was placed before each person, bringing with it the warmth of a peaceful morning. Breakfast became a precious moment where they could relax and chat together. After they had enjoyed delicious coffee and hot dumplings, the atmosphere became warm. Do-jun, who was especially respected by the writing team, agreed to share the joy. The writing team was extremely excited to see Do-jun accept the friendly offer. They believed that this precious relationship would continue to help the writing team overcome all challenges. In the future, they hoped to move forward to new and deeper successes together. Yoju went to Bong with the hope of making a deal that would benefit both of them. She said that she would match him with senior Nari in exchange for what she wanted. Do-jun took Nari to a special place that her mother had often visited when she was alive. There, he explained why he had to keep that land. Bong came to see Nari with a clear determination. After receiving advice from Yoju, his goal was to win Nari over and return to Seoul with her. After a long time of thinking and pondering, Nari agreed to Bong's proposal. Before leaving, Nari had a final meeting with Do-jun at the greenhouse land. She gave him her mother's phone as a mysterious and meaningful sign. That action confused Do-jun. His eyes clearly showed hesitation and confusion. Bong asked Yoju about what had happened between her and Nari before. Yoju honestly admitted that she had stolen Nari's boyfriend of 9 years. The filming went smoothly and successfully thanks to everyone's contribution. Bong then made an appointment to meet Nari, and he mentioned their previous date. Bong wanted her to testify for Do-jun in the upcoming trial. Nari's testimony was considered very important and could change the course of the trial. She thought a lot about the request and could not make a decision right away. And then, Do-jun and 2 of Bong's employees decided to investigate Nari's father's death more closely. During the investigation, Do-jun constantly thought about old memories and what had happened. He recalled the old days, the moments that Do-jun could not forget in the past. He and Nari had experienced the joys of youth and many challenges in life together. Those memories were forever engraved in Do-jun's heart as an inseparable part. One day, Do-jun's phone rang, and Nari's voice rang from the other side. She announced that she would be taking the last flight tomorrow and had bought a ticket for Do-jun to go on that flight. The news made Do-jun feel excited, with a joy spreading throughout his heart. He understood that this might be their last chance to start a new life. The next day, Do-jun went to the airport to meet Nari again, and they took the same flight. The two traveled together and enjoyed their time as if they had never been apart. Yoju called Bong and said that Nari and Do-jun had taken Nari's last flight. While traveling, Do-jun told her that he had been in prison and that Nari's mother had visited Do-jun. Nari shared why she needed a father and didn't want Do-jun to be her stepfather. In court, the atmosphere became tense as details of the past were revealed. Do-jun's dark past was completely revealed in front of everyone. Nari's uncle's lawyer asked questions about her mother and Do-jun's marriage. They asked Nari if she had known about the marriage. She answered firmly that she had not known. Nari continued to be asked whether she believed that the marriage was invalid or not. She stood her ground and answered no. Nari's answer left her uncle's lawyers speechless. Next was Do-jun's lawyer's questioning. He asked what kind of relationship Nari and Do-jun had. She answered that Do-jun was her stepfather. On the other hand, Yoju bravely entered the school to help Bong's younger sister. She quickly intervened and freed Shim from the brutal hands of the bullies. After she had taken Shim out of danger, Yoju sat down to talk to her. Shim began to talk about her brother's past love affair with a girl. Yoju could not hide her curiosity and asked for more information about Bong's ex-lover. Shim pointed out that she had many similarities with her brother's ex-lover. This made Yoju start to doubt whether there was something special between her and Bong. However, Shim advised Yoju not to dream about feelings for Bong because the person he was currently focusing on was Nari, not Yoju anymore. Those words left Yoju stunned, unable to hide the mix of surprise and nervousness in her heart. She started to wonder if there was a real chance for feelings between her and Bong. After that tense trial, no one could contact Nari. She disappeared completely and suddenly without leaving any trace. Do-jun was very worried when he saw Nari was going through difficult times and being deeply hurt. He knew that the pain was something he couldn't share, but he was always secretly worried. That anxiety made Do-jun determined to do everything he could to find Nari's whereabouts. After receiving a call from Bong, Nari's Nari's friend came to find her. No words were needed, no matter how long the search lasted. When Nari saw her friend again, she burst into tears, sobbing in the arms of her close companion. The tears that flowed clearly showed the extremely painful emotional stage. For Nari and everyone around her, her return was the most precious beginning. Nari had friends to share with, and that marked a new step in a long journey. After the terrible storm, Dujin's life became more tiring and difficult than before. Dujin worried about precious garden, which he had cared for with all his heart for many years. The recent storm caused his health to seriously decline due to overwork. A close employee who knew the situation well decided to call Nari. Understanding the situation, she immediately went to Dujin's house to help. Nari not only came to encourage him, but also shared her worries with him very gently. She advised Dujin to go to the hospital for a health check and immediate treatment. Nari understood that only when Dujin was healthy could he protect his garden. The memories associated with that land were sacred things that Dujin needed to preserve completely. Bong called his father to explain his decision to give up the land. He made it clear that he did not want to be involved with it and would not continue to fight. However, his father did not listen and was completely dissatisfied with that choice. He thought that Bong had traded something very important, like his family's honor. The father demanded that he do as he pleased. Bong was not allowed to have any other choice. He even made more stringent demands, which made Bong extremely confused and pressured. If he did not listen, the father would force Bong to resign immediately without hesitation. This put him in a difficult position between family affection and clear personal decisions. After long and tumultuous days, Nari finally moved in with Dujin. The new house marked a major turning point in her life, bringing with it new hope and happiness. On a sunny day when everything began to stabilize, Bong visited Nari's house. He brought a bouquet of fresh flowers that his younger sister had chosen to send to Nari. The colorful bouquet made the new house warmer and more vibrant. Nari and Dujin's new life gradually passed in peace and hope for the future. Nari texted Dujin to confirm the agreement she was excited about with him. Nari believed that it was necessary and would be a big step forward in their relationship. Dujin agreed in concept, but after he had read the agreement carefully, he had some dissatisfactions. Although he could not explain it clearly, he was still not completely satisfied with terms in it. Dujin and Nari continued to argue about the agreement, trying to reach a final resolution. Both hoped to find peace of mind for the future of their relationship. The people from Dada Finance suddenly appeared, determined to arrest the dumpling shop employees. In the chaos, only one person escaped and immediately called Dujin. The bad news made Dujin realize the seriousness and danger that was lurking around him. His two friends were arrested, forcing him to act quickly and decisively. Dujin did not want to lose anything more. He was determined to overcome all the challenges ahead. Meanwhile, Bong made an appointment to meet Nari on a cool and breezy evening outside. Nari walked out with a curious look, not knowing what was waiting for her ahead. When she arrived, Nari unexpectedly came face to face with a strange and unfamiliar person from Dada Finance. The sudden encounter made her unable to hide her confusion and a series of vague thoughts. Nari did not understand why that stranger was related to the people around her. Meanwhile, Yoju was angry because she heard bad words behind Bong's back from a group of people. Unable to control her emotions, she decided to confront and present the whole truth. Yoju's words sparked a fierce conflict that forced the police to intervene. The tense incident was brought to the police station to be resolved in a chaotic atmosphere. As for Dujin, he went to meet person from Dada Finance to talk frankly. After the confrontation between the two sides, a fierce fight broke out. The three dumpling shop employees were finally released after the director reviewed them. Dujin also immediately ordered Dada's finance people to leave the area immediately. Dukshim secretly gave Nari a USB containing a self-criticism written in secret pictures. Inside were a series of photos secretly taken of Dujin that she had kept all this time. The photos on the USB revealed private moments between Dujin and Dukshim. The content of the photos could change the lives of those two people. After viewing them, Nari could not keep her composure and emotions in her heart. She decided to meet Dukshim at the amusement park to find out what happened. When Dukshim arrived, Nari asked her if she thought Dujin was a good person. Dukshim answered yes, her eyes unable to hide her initial trust. Nari continued to ask about Dukshim's parents and what happened in Seoul. At that moment, Dukshim's expression changed. Her eyes became cold and distant. She didn't answer anything more, stood up and quietly left place. Nari then called Dujin to the living room and gave him Dukshim's letter. While reading the letter, Dujin discovered a strange detail in the accompanying photo. A woman he had met before was looking at Dujin with a nervous and suspicious look. He remembered that look when she went to the dumpling shop to buy food. That image made Dujin feel uneasy and raised many questions in his heart. Bong took Nari to meet her uncle and his family's lawyer. Here, Nari's uncle suddenly revealed that Dujin was the one who killed her father. That information made Nari extremely confused and could not believe it. She immediately asked to be taken to meet Dujun's foster father to clarify the truth. Meanwhile, Bong quickly chased after the representative Bong U to get more information. This person told Nari the entire dark past that Dujun had hidden. The dumpling shop staff held a party to celebrate after appearing on TV. Returning home, Nari took out an old photo of her father and looked at it with many emotions. The image of her father peacefully made her heart surge with indescribable emotions. Nari knew it was time to share everything with Dujun. That evening, after regaining her composure, she decided to face Dujun. Nari took a deep breath, her eyes trembling as she looked at him to talk about the old pain. She began to tell the heartbreaking story of her father's death. Dujun listened and then recounted the fight that caused her father's death years ago. Nari burst into tears. She didn't say a word, stood up and left the room quietly. In Nari's mind appeared childhood memories with her beloved father. The smile of the little girl who used to be bright with her father was now just a memory. All the warm memories gradually faded, leaving only the pain that silently clung to her. A sudden phone call woke Nari up from her regretful memories. The phone rang, pulling her back to reality with a look of anxiety in her eyes. A strange woman's voice rang out. She asked Nari if what she had been longing for all this time was to find her father. Right. Nari was surprised to hear the question about the father she had been searching for all her life. Hope rose up mixed with anxiety, making Nari's heart beat violently. She answered with a yes, in a voice filled with uncontrollable excitement. The strange woman continued to say that she knew where Nari's father was, and she asked if she could go see him alone. With no time to think, Nari immediately agreed, her heart filled with excitement as she tightly held onto her phone. Nari knew that this was her last chance to see her long-lost father. She couldn't contain her excitement and quickly walked to the appointed place. Nari was filled with hope that this would be a fateful meeting. The journey to find her father that she had started a long time ago was about to end. Meanwhile, Dujun went to confront the Dada Financial Group. After a fierce fight, he took back the secret ledger. Nari finally met and talked to her biological father. She shed tears as she thanked him for being alive after all. At the same time, Dujun was seriously injured after the fierce fight. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The wounds on Dujun's face and body clearly reflected the fierce conflict he had just experienced. The dumpling shop, lacking staff, was forced to temporarily close and became the subject of scrutiny from those around. Nari sat waiting all night, each minute passing in silence and anxiety. She recalled the sweet moments when the two of them had laughed together and shared their dreams. Those memories rushed back like a warm stream in the long, weary night of waiting. When Dujun returned home, Nari's heart clenched with joy and extreme emotion. She immediately told him about meeting her father, describing every detail to share with him. But when she saw the wounds on Dujun's body, Nari's joy suddenly stopped in sorrow. She blamed him for being reckless, but Dujun just hugged Nari and whispered that everything was over. That warm embrace made her feel a deep peace in her heart that she had never felt before. Nari knew that even though there were many challenges ahead, they would face them and overcome them together. Their love was not only deep but also built on trust and resilience. The next day, Dujun went to see Bong to discuss matters related to the disputed land. He showed Bong the transaction records between Dada Finance and Greenland. After he had looked at the records, Bong was extremely angry and immediately called his father. He said that from then on, there was no more relationship. Dujun borrowed a car from an employee and took Nari to meet her father. On the way, Nari expressed confusion about how to treat her father. Dujun advised her to ask him directly what he wanted and then decide on the appropriate response. When they met again, the father said he could not go home because he was afraid of being chased and threatened by the Bong U representative. Dujun reassured that Dada's finances had been investigated and would soon be dealt with according to the law. On the way back, Dujun reminded Nari to visit her father often because that was the best thing she could do. He also confessed that he just wanted to live a normal life like Nari had dreamed of. Falling in love, dating, getting married, having children, those were simple but complete things like any other couple. That unexpected confession deeply moved Nari. She could not hide her surprise and joy. The two took pictures to keep the happy moment, marking a turning point in their relationship. Meanwhile, the Bong U representative was still frantically sending people to hunt down Nari's father at all costs. He personally came to see Dujun with a serious look and asked him to hand over the notebook. His decisive words and cold tone showed that a big incident was approaching. Won-sik wanted to meet Dujun, and Dujun advised him to turn himself in. Won-sik then called the Bong U representative and said he wanted to give the representative the book in person. But when the meeting took place, the police were waiting and immediately raided and arrested the Bong U representative. The Bong U representative, his subordinates, and Won-sik were all arrested without warning. Because of the lack of warning, Nari was angry with Dujun Doo-jun for acting alone, and she could not forgive him immediately. Doo-jun tried everything to calm Nari down, but to no avail. Duckbong took Nari to a place he wanted to forget, a corner of painful memories. That was where his first love broke up due to conflicts between the two families. Duckbong admitted to himself that he fell in love with Nari because of her sincerity and simplicity. During the time he spent with her, he felt his life become brighter every day. Nari was the one who gave Duckbong faith, motivation, and the feeling of truly living. The woman who lived with Nari's father called Doo-jun and arranged to meet. When they arrived, Nari's father asked Doo-jun to stay away from his daughter. Nari also visited her father with joy shining in her eyes and heart. She wanted her father to move in with her, but he said he couldn't live with Doo-jun. Nari didn't understand why her father refused when Doo-jun had sacrificed so much. She never forgot the days when he and she grew and took care of the small garden. In Nari's heart, Doo-jun was not only a lover, but also a confidant. He was a silent companion who protected her family with all his heart. Nari believed that only when her father realized that feeling would the family truly be healed. Doo-jun had prepared for a long time for a special date with Nari. They chose to go to a bustling amusement park to fully enjoy the memorable day. Both of them were excited about the plan as a new beginning for their love. The loving atmosphere and laughter made that day meaningful. And then Nari's father moved to his daughter's house after a long time of living apart. When entering the familiar house, he was moved to look at the photo of his ex-wife. The smile in the photo seemed to remind them of beautiful memories and happy years. The photo was not only a memory but also a symbol of a once happy family. On this side, Duckshim informed her mother that Nari's father had returned home after many years of absence. She immediately told her husband the good news, making the family atmosphere warmer. Nari asked her father why he had left them all these years. Her father still thought that Doo-jun was the one who had made the family life complicated. He blamed for Doo-jun, thinking he had turned everything for the worse. Although she knew that her father was too stubborn, Nari still held on to her feelings for Doo-jun with gratitude. She always wondered if patience could help her father understand that sincere love. Despite the challenges, she still did not give up on the man who had always been by her side. Meanwhile, Duckbong's father decided to take Nari's father to court for fraud. He hired a good lawyer and pushed the confrontation between the two families to extreme tension. Duckbong's father also personally went to meet Nari's father to find evidence and clarify everything. The meeting between them did not bring any results but only made things more complicated. The heavy atmosphere between the two sides became a threat to the feelings between Nari and Duckbong. The lawsuit not only affected the future of the two families, but also their friendship. At that moment, Nari's father took the initiative to go to the police station and confessed his wrongdoings. He called Nari to inform her of the news, hoping that she would understand why he had made such a decision. Duckbong stopped Nari and suggested that he go see her father first to have an honest conversation. Nari's father said that Duckbong's father had forced him to take Nari away to take over the land. After finishing the matter, Duckbong went to see his father. He questioned him about his actions and condemned his father's conscience. With shining eyes, Duckbong invited Nari to the year-end party and hoped that she would nod in agreement. Nari smiled brightly and nodded. That made Duckbong's heart flutter with joy. And then, she met Yoju to quit her job, but Yoju begged Nari to marry Doo-jun to save her. In the end, she did not attend the party with Duckbong because Doo-jun came and took Nari home. He said that he would stay at the dumpling shop and face everything in life with her. The two of them visited Nari's father together. He showed special affection for Duckbong. In front of Doo-jun and Nari, the father kept praising Duckbong. Afterwards, Doo-jun gave Duckbong the secret document. Duckbong firmly said that he would not give up on Nari, but Doo-jun told Duckbong to just be her neighbor. After that conversation, Doo-jun took Nari to a small bookstore hidden on a romantic street corner. Nari was surprised and excited to know that this was the place he wanted to take her to. Inside the store, the scent of old books and the smell of pine wood created a special atmosphere. On the shelf, Nari saw a book with her own name. She curiously picked it up and opened it to read. Inside was a copy of a book of poems written by Doo-jun himself and dedicated to Nari. Emotions rushed back like waves, making her heart burst with the sincerity he gave. The quiet verses recorded the silent love that Doo-jun had never fully expressed. The book became a beautiful keepsake of a special day, deeply imprinted in Nari's memory. Immediately after, Nari went to see Duckbong to thank him and apologize for the things that that were not finalized. Bong came to Nari's house with an excited heart. He brought with him the hope of a new beginning. On this side, Bong happened to meet Yoju, and the two had a light conversation. During the intimate moment, Yoju confessed that she liked Bong and wanted a new opportunity. Yoju said that if he called her, it would be a sign of a serious first date. At the same time, Jun and Bong decided to go to court together to protect their legitimate rights. This was not only a legal battle but also a battle with fate and honor. After many tense months, Jun finally regained his position and recognition. Nari and Jun felt relieved and excited about the future, ready for the new challenge ahead. A year later, when the sun was shining brightly, Jun came to the airport to pick up Nari with a bright smile. The warm sunlight reflected on his face, creating a scene of complete love. The two of them walked out of the airport and went to see a fortune teller. Together as a prelude to their future, they shared their dreams, plans, and looked forward to the good things that lay ahead. Jun happily announced that he was about to open a new branch for his career. Jun's eyes lit up with hope at the thought of developing it firmly with Nari. They wished to build a bright future together with love and a strong career. Meanwhile, Bong called Yoju and invited her to take part in a play to get revenge on his father. Painful memories still weighed heavily on Bong's heart, and the stage was where he sought relief. Yoju, who had always been by Bong's side, did not hesitate to join to fight alongside him. Yoju understood that he needed her now. The two of them were always a strong team in the face of any challenge. After the call, Yoju went to Bong's house to meet his parents in a tense meeting. There, she introduced herself and enjoyed the first minutes of acceptance from her lover's family. Life gradually stabilized for those who had gone through hardships together and understood the value of love. Yoju knew this action was an important turning point in their love journey. It was also an opportunity for her to express her appreciation and love for Bong. Yoju shared that thanks to Nari, she had gone through a meaningful growth process. She was grateful to Nari for accompanying, encouraging, and inspiring her in every stage. Nari was not only a friend, but also a role model for her to discover herself. Yoju learned to overcome her weaknesses and develop the strength in her soul. Jun's dumpling shop became more and more famous, attracting many students and visitors. Dumpling making courses became popular, and that created a prestigious brand throughout the country. On a warm, sunny afternoon, Sik visited the shop and expressed his joy and happiness. He congratulated Jun with all his heart and expressed his desire to cooperate in developing the brand. The companionship between old friends created a warm and memorable memory. After all, Jun and Nari returned to their old familiar school. They walked through the school gate in emotion and reminisced about the old memories. The lessons, the chance encounters, and the memories of their youth flooded their minds. Under the gentle golden afternoon sky, Jun gave Nari a small box containing a ring. Nari burst into tears in emotion and hugged Jun tightly, as if she never wanted to leave again. That nod was a promise for a complete, happy, and sweet future together. Together, they overcame all the events to find themselves and a lasting love. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you again.